Here's the next two standalone applications that I've added to the toolbox. And again, I'll release the source with these, but the features right now are just basic. It's just the basic idea of what I want the interface to do. So these are basically these are really just UI interfaces to library calls with some specific code depending on what the application is. So here's the first one. Well, this is actually the third one in the list. I've got two more to do after this. But this is a very simple install package interface. It really calls the library routine to install a package, and really all it does, it's just very simple. All it does is copy the files from a zipped file into a folder. That's really all it does. And you can see based on the global variables that because each one of these applications has global startup variables that you can configure. And each one of these applications has its own configuration file, which is pretty much just the application name plus any. So this is where you can literally specify a startup value. And this is just where I was testing it. So you can see where it actually says install. It's just really simple, and you can't really see it on my desktop. But over here on the desktop, I'm gonna create the folder. Everything's gonna install into a desktop temporary folder just for testing. You can actually see the folder right here. So if we click install, you'll actually see that it literally copied all the files. And I actually have a folder now on my desktop which has those files in it. But some of the other features that I put in here was, and you can close the once it's installed, you can close the application, or what you can do is you can go over to, let's see, we are looking for okay, here we go. So, or you can just simply grab other zip packages and drop it and see it tells you what the package is. Now, remember, we're just testing this out. So there's install, and then it copies the files out. Did it change it here? Yeah, we got it. DDS files. I was thinking, oh my God, did it actually work? Okay. So, and you can just do this as many times as you like. It's very simple stuff. See, and then that installed that. Now, what happens if you go to install the same file again? What will happen is it comes up with an uninstall option, because what this application does, it keeps a file local in this directory. So in the application directory, in this application, wherever this application is run from, it keeps a file that says these are the packages that have been installed. And if it's already been installed, then the minute that you click it, it'll go in and it removes. It actually removes that particular file from the package. Now, since this is basic, it's just a very basic, we're going to close the window. It's a very basic application at this point. So it doesn't use a uh, like a manifest or anything like that. Maybe I'll probably add that later when I have more time, and that way I can decide whether or not I want to remove that file. And I think I'll it won't be very, I'm sitting there thinking as I go, it won't be difficult to do. I'll just have to make sure the file's assigned to the right package. Okay, so that's application number one. Here's application number two. So this is just a front-end interface to BuffoutLogs. Now, I know there's other applications that exist, and you will be able to link those here. You will be able to configure buttons that will go here. And it's configured in an any file. So right now, these are just the basic buttons that's provided. You can drag and drop files. Now, this little flashing here, I'll figure that out. But you can drag and drop as many buff out logs here as you would like. And I don't have the feature in there yet, but part of the basic feature is you will be able to save this buff out file to another folder. You can add, so in other words, you can keep all of the, you can keep a copy of like all of your current Buffout files where you can easily view them. But here you can see sections. So if you were to look at, let's say, the plugins, if you click on the plugin, these are the sections that's available in the Buffout file. So you can literally just see. Now this doesn't, because this is only a text file, it only looks at a text file. There's no way I can access the plugins, especially if somebody posts a BuffoutLog. I'm not going to be able to access the plugins on their system, so I can't open those up using another library. I can't open that up, but I can at least color code them based on whatever the file extension is. So I can at least do that much. The only thing it won't do is show official files as being kind of a yellowish color. Okay, so you can click on libraries. You can also, let me see here, did I get that? You can also go in and do, yeah, I think I need to change that up there now. Look at that. Okay, so you have that. And again, it's all multi-threaded because it uses the same exact stuff. So if you go in and do a crash log, now I don't have any crashes. I don't have any crashes in, I don't have any Windows crashes that I could find for, yeah, I'm not sure what that anomaly is. I couldn't find any Windows crashes for Fallout 4, so I had to kind of substitute another application. So that's what I did here. But what I wanted to show you is you can still go in and you can still graph the history because that's all part of the utility library. Graphing is in the utility library. Or you can go in and you can graph addresses. And there's only one, you know, there's only like, this is only like one type of application. So, and I think it's the Galaxy client, I think. And I don't know why it crashes, but sometimes it does occasionally crash. But anyways, I dummied this up so that you could at least see that everything still applies. So you can still graph and you can still do those kind of things if you need that kind of metric. And then by accumulating logs, you'll be able to, and then I haven't got this in here just yet, but I think I'm thinking about it. I think I'm going to make that part of the base, is you can generate a buff out history of buff out. Now another thing, it's like a history of a buff out history based on configured keywords. So, and that way you can, and it maps, you can map that so it's pretty much the exact same function that exists in the main, because that's what I'm doing. The main interface is just using library calls. But one of the things you can do is you can do filtering. So let's see, did I block I think I must have blocked the menu out. I think that's what I did. Let me see, did I block that menu? That I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that, I bet you. Oh, I see the problem. Took me a second here. I see the problem. All right, there we go. I love debugging as we go. All right, let's fire this back off again. And let's drag and drop our BuffoutLog on here. Okay. So you can also filter, and it just for the, just to kind of share, what I did is I have a tag set up. See, this is where the tag starts, and then you have a menu here. Let's put this. So I was missing this tag right here. So this tag was missing. So in a sense, it thought all of this, everything from the end of the file was all part of that one tag, which it is not. It's a separate tag. So now the menu systems work. So now it can find what it needs. So you can go in and you can filter text and you can look, you can still do the same kind of, you can create your own filters. This is all in an any file. This is just what I have set up. So we can look up SS2 and it will bring up all instances. And I'll figure out what this flicker is. I'm pretty sure it's generating an event it shouldn't. But you can actually see which entries have what. So you can see where SS2 shows up in the BuffoutLog. And let's say for SS2, you're looking for particular, these are the keywords that's defined for the SS2 filter. Yeah, I can add more to it. It's basically over here, just so you can kind of see it. It is, let me see. Filters, our filters. So you can see the filters right here. So this is just a text file that comes with it. There's SS2. See, there's a list of filters. You can put them comma after them, or you can put them up and down like this. Either way is fine. You can do that, and again, you can do the searches, or you can actually look for your own filter. You can if you want to, like, you could do, like, let's say you wanted to do find, right? And you want to do like unofficial. See, you could do it that way, or what you could do is you could go in like this and just put, and then it will, because these are already highlighted, it actually keeps the same item. So if these weren't highlighted, then it actually shows the exact same item. So if those were not highlighted, and I don't know if that's a good feature, but I'm gonna leave it in there for now. Oops. So see, and it shows you how many that it found. So you can still do filtered. You can still do filtered reporting. You can also do graphing. Again, all of that's built into the main library. The code is really simple. There's really not the actual custom, not the actual application code is very simple. I'm just simply calling certain library functions and passing parameters to it depending on what I'm looking at. One of the things though that I wanted to look, oh, here we go. Yeah, so this this didn't work the first time around. I'm not really sure what happened. I'll have to take a look, but headers actually work. So these are the exact same headers that you would see over here in this application. They're the exact same headers. So where it would be a certain color, and it's just for plugins. So, and it only works for headers. Right now, it only works for headers and section headers, just basically a header or a section header. But I left this in here so you can kind of see how many plugins you've got. No, it doesn't flag these. Remember, this is just a basic program because I've got to move off to the other two. I need to get the other two interfaces designed, and then I need to get the very base code for those put in as well. I need to get that done. Let me pop this over here real quick. So I need to get that base done. Now you can over here, you can just keep dragging and dropping files. You can do that, or you can specify one as a parameter. Every one of these standalone applications has their own startup parameters. So if you execute the program from a shell or something else, you can still pass the name of the file you want to open. You can pass pretty much any startup parameter you want, you can pass to these programs because that's part of the the library, the utility library. Uh, the utility library does a lot of different things, but these applications pretty much depend on that pretty much for almost everything other than the layout of the controls and how the controls are, like what you want each control to do. So to kind of show you real quick with that, let me get up a piece of code here. Let me grab, his is a good example. Let's get over here, you can see it. So in effect, every one of these applications, every single one of these, they have what I call application buttons. And what this is there's a button here. Now these buttons can also they can call function codes, or they can be routed down to this section. And then all I need to do is check whatever the text is, and there is a localization file included with it, so you can use your own languages. Every one of these, again, uses that same utility library, and localization is part of it. And this is where you literally can say, okay, if the button is an install button, you're going to install. If it's an uninstall, you're going to do that. Otherwise, you're going to say, hey, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to tell you about it. And then, and that's it. See, you can see that's the extent of that button code. And if you notice that all I'm doing is saying, okay, on the installer, which is over here, I don't think I have it going. On the installer, let's bring it up here real quick. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and just do a quick compile on it. Okay. So on this, see where it says uninstall? So this, whatever the text is in here, is exactly what's going to happen. Make sure I'm in there. Make sure I'm in the right box here. It's going to happen here. And that's it. See, because that's a utility library. That's what that is. And that's it. That's part of the button. That's the button. So as far as each application goes, and this is when you copy and paste, this is all you have to change here. This up here is, since it's an installer program, and this is the other piece that is usually unique. So these two, because you can see they're custom, this is the application specific. So if you're looking at library calls, outside of the framework and the library that's used, and the framework uses the library, this is all the code there is. As far as programming code goes, man, this is it. That's it. That's it. It's just it's the very end of the file. Everything else up there is framework. And this is all you really have to change. So that's what kind of makes it easy to pop out. Once I decide how I want to lay it out and what I'm wanting to do, then all the processing is really done from this point down. And the framework literally says, oh, now, well, you do have to go up and you do have to define, you do need to, especially if you want this application to generate controls, like a control, like a list view or a button. If you want it to generate these, then you have to define that in the framework. So once you copy it over, you just go in and change. Because I think the only thing the framework has is this banner and it's got this button, and that's about it. I think that's it. And then you have to go in and say, okay, well, I need to say, here's a list view. This is where it's located. This is the size of it. And this is the properties I want for that list view. You can do most of that in the designer. If you're over here, you can probably do most of that over in this designer. But as you can see, there's nothing here. It's just a blank form. The designer has a blank form, and then all of the controls I put in with the framework. So I could do that with, but in order to make sure that I capture the events, then I go ahead and create the controls myself. Otherwise, Windows is going to do it. So if I don't want, like I said, I don't want Windows to do most of it, I'll do it with my app. But anyways, so that's how that works. It's very simple. Uninstalling, again, it'll uninstall. It keeps track of it, so it'll actually delete the files out. And then where you have this thing right here, I don't know what I want to do with this yet. I do know, like I said, I do know there's going to be custom buttons where you can say, I want a button here, and I want that button to point to, I forget what it is. It's like it's Poet's Classic kind of a thing. You can point to his thing and pass the name of the BuffoutLog you're looking at if you want to bring up his interface, or you can link other stuff into it. You'll be able to link other applications into that. It's really, really simple to do. You just define a button, and then you say when this button, when this button is clicked, and that's all done in the configuration file over here. You just kind of say, well, when the button's clicked, not that one, this one, I think it's that one. So you just say when it's clicked, this is what I want you to do. And that's pretty much what I do for C. You just put it over here. So if the button and clicked is install, that's the function code that gets executed, which is defined in the pipe. And that's it. So it's very, very simple code. It uses large portions of the library, which does pretty much most of the heavy lifting for you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here, and I'm gonna make me some more coffee, and then I'm gonna tinker around a little bit more, putting a few more base features in this BuffoutLog, and then I'm gonna tackle papyrus mapping. I'm gonna look at that. I've had that on the list. I've had that on a list for a while, and like I say, all of these little standalone applications do not need the main application. It just needs the libraries that the main application uses. It doesn't need this whole. Let me go ahead and close this, get that out of the way, and let's close that. Yeah, and let's get that out of the way. It doesn't need this. They're standalone. And that's gonna make it nice because I do have a load order library, a game library. I've got an ESX, a plugin library. I've got a BSA library to where I can open plugins. I can parse them, and I can open BSAs and parse them. So almost any kind of standalone application you can imagine, if the library function calls are there, if not all, if they're there, great. I can, they can be used easily. If not, um, it's not hard to put them in. You just go in and just you go in and add that code to one of the libraries, recompile it, and you're good to go. So, all right, well, I'm gonna hop off here and get me some more coffee. And yeah, hope everyone has a great day and enjoy modding.